The internet is exploding right now, and the shockwaves are vibrating through every corner of the hip-hop community. What started as a simple rumor in the early hours of a Sunday morning has rapidly transformed into something much bigger. A culture-shaking event that has left fans stunned and critics in a frenzy. According to online speculation and a series of frantic social media updates, the young scion of an Atlanta rap dynasty has found himself at the center of a legal storm so bizarre, it feels scripted for a dark comedy. Hollywood is whispering, and the narrative surrounding the Harris family is shifting in real time. Unverified reports suggest that the arrest of King Harris wasn't just a routine traffic stop. It was a high-stakes confrontation that ended in handcuffs, a camel-wrapped Cybertruck, and a costume that no one, literally no one, saw coming. Fans believe that this might be the breaking point for a family already under immense public pressure. Something darker may be unfolding behind the scenes of this viral moment. As the footage begins to leak and the charges are tallied, the gravity of the situation is setting in. This isn't just about a speeding ticket or a rebellious phase anymore. Some insiders claim that the legal jeopardy King is facing is far more severe than his cavalier social media posts would suggest. The intersection of celebrity privilege, a simmering rap feud, and a yellow Pikachu onesie has created a perfect storm of controversy that is currently consuming the digital world. The question on everyone's lips, is this a cry for help, or the ultimate gift to his family's greatest rival? To understand the weight of this moment, we have to look at the players involved and the world they inhabit. King Harris is not just any 21-year-old. He is the son of T.I. and Tiny Harris, royalty in the Atlanta music scene. For years, the Harris family has been the blueprint for hip-hop excellence and family unity. We watched them on reality TV, saw them navigate the peaks of the industry, and witnessed T.I. transition from the king of the South to a respected elder statesman of the culture. On the surface, things appeared perfect. King was raised in the lap of luxury, surrounded by the spoils of a multi-platinum legacy. He was the heir apparent, the young prince who was expected to carry the torch. His public image was that of a fiery, independent spirit, someone who wasn't afraid to speak his mind, even if it meant clashing with industry titans. But as King grew older, the cracks in that narrative began to emerge. The transition from a protected child of celebrity to a man navigating the legal system has been fraught with tension. The Harris brand was built on hustle and flow, but it was also built on respect. T.I. has spent the better part of the last decade rebranding himself as a logical, reasonable man of respect, a mentor to the youth who warns against the very traps he once fell into. He spoke often about the importance of discipline and the dangers of street life. Yet, while the father was preaching restraint, the son seemed to be gravitating toward the edge. Online communities began to notice a pattern. It wasn't just the music or the fashion, it was the energy King brought to social media. He wasn't just defending his family, he was seeking out conflict. The public image of the well-raised son was being replaced by the image of a provocateur. This disconnect between the father's wisdom and the son's actions created a tension that the internet was more than happy to exploit. Then came the feud that changed everything. The simmer between T.I. and 50 Cent, two legends with massive egos, finally reached a boiling point in early 2026. What began as a dispute over a Versus battle quickly devolved into personal attacks. But while the veterans kept it mostly psychological, King Harris decided to jump into the trenches. He didn't just join the fight, he tried to lead the charge. He took on 50 Cent, a man known for being the most ruthless troll in the history of the internet. King's involvement was a turning point. He began posting content that many felt crossed the line, including alleged documents and personal jabs that were designed to hurt. For a moment, it seemed like King was winning the tough guy contest, standing up to a giant. But in the world of high-stakes celebrity drama, your greatest strength can become your greatest weakness in a matter of seconds. The perfect image of a young man defending his throne was about to collide with a very cold, very yellow reality. The escalation began in the dead of night, around 1 a.m. on a Sunday in Gwinnett County, Georgia. It started as a whisper on police scanners and quickly turned into a viral wildfire. Alleged leaks from within the department suggested that a high-profile vehicle, a camel-wrapped Tesla Cybertruck, had been spotted tearing through a 45 miles per hour zone at nearly double the speed limit. Social media reactions were instantaneous. Before the official police reports even hit the wire, fan theories were already circulating. Some fans think that King was intentionally drawing attention to himself, while others believe it was just a case of a young man with too much horsepower and too little discretion. Industry whispers began to circulate that something had gone wrong during the stop, something that moved beyond a simple traffic violation. The rumors intensified when it was reportedly suggested that King wasn't alone in the car, at least, not in the traditional sense. He was reportedly dressed in a full-body Pikachu onesie. According to unverified reports, the sight of a grown man in a Pokémon costume refusing to exit a futuristic tank-like vehicle was so surreal that responding officers initially didn't know how to process the scene. Claims began to surface online that King was live-streaming or posting to his Instagram stories during the actual confrontation. The tension was building. We have no confirmed evidence of the internal dialogue within the Harris household at that moment, but the internet was doing the talking for them. The narrative was no longer about a rap feud. It was about a high-speed escalation. Some fans believe that the presence of a firearm on the dashboard, which was cited in early reports, turned a routine encounter into a potential tragedy. The allegedly and reportedly tags were working overtime as bloggers scrambled to piece together the timeline. Was he really non-compliant? Did he really refuse to step out of the car until his lawyer was on the line? The escalation wasn't just happening on the road. It was happening in the comments sections. 50 Cent's fans were already salivating, waiting for the Queen's King of Petty to weigh in. Every detail that leaked, the onesie, the Cybertruck, the refusal to cooperate, felt like a pre-packaged meme. The industry was watching a slow-motion car crash, and the Pikachu element made it impossible to look away. This wasn't just a legal issue, it was a brand-damaging spectacle. While some online communities reacted with extreme theories about setups or orchestrated drama, the reality appearing in the police logs was much grimmer. Reports suggested that during the booking process, things went from bad to worse. A Schedule II controlled substance, allegedly an oxycodone pill, was reportedly found on King's person. The escalation had reached its peak. A felony charge was now on the table. The young man who had been mocking 50 Cent for snitching was now sitting in a cell, facing the very system he had spent weeks disparaging. As the sun rose over Georgia, the emotional breakdown of the situation began to play out in the most modern way possible, via social media. A viral moment captured on King's own Instagram story showed the surreal nature of the arrest. There he was, the Pikachu hood pulled over his head, captioned with, "They are not catching this Pikachu tonight. They caught him." It was a moment of peak cognitive dissonance, a young man facing serious felony charges, yet treating it like a scene from a cartoon. The tension shifted from the arrest to the aftermath. A cryptic social media post appeared on King's feed shortly after his release on bond. It wasn't an apology, it was a defiance. He posted a photo of himself flipping off the camera, the Pikachu costume replaced by street clothes, but the attitude remaining unchanged. The emotional intensity of the situation was palpable. Fans were trending on Twitter, divided between those who felt King was being unfairly targeted and those who felt he was self-destructing in real time. Then came the deleted tweets. Fans who were monitoring the accounts of T.I. and Tiny noticed a flurry of activity that was quickly scrubbed. Cryptic messages about raising lions and the weight of the crown appeared and disappeared, suggesting a deep internal conflict within the family. The public was witnessing a private family crisis play out through the filter of a high-speed internet connection. The emotional breakdown wasn't just King's, it was the public's perception of the hustle and gang legacy. People were asking, where's the guidance? Where's the intervention? The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Every time King posted a new video, like the one where he was driving a go-kart in the same Pikachu onesie after being released, the internet groaned collectively. It felt like a breakdown of logic, a breakdown of brand management, and a breakdown of the barrier between reality and social media performance. The viral live stream moment where King questioned the officer's authority, "You want me to get out my car to talk to me about what?" became a rallying cry for some and a point of ridicule for others. It highlighted the disconnect between a young man's sense of entitlement and the cold reality of a police officer with a gun drawn. The emotional stakes were at an all-time high because everyone knew who was waiting in the wings to capitalize on this breakdown. In the wake of the arrest, a deafening silence fell over the usual circles. Brands that had previously sought associations with the Harris family suddenly went quiet. There were no public statements of support from major corporate partners. It was an observational shift. The sudden lack of noise was more telling than any press release. Public figures who are usually quick to weigh in on hip-hop drama began posting cryptic quotes instead of direct comments. We saw a wave of unfollows on social media as industry players began to distance themselves from the volatility surrounding King. The media silence from T.I. and Tiny was perhaps the most shocking part. For a couple that has lived their lives in front of a lens, their refusal to address the Pikachu-shaped elephant in the room was a massive statement in itself. But then, the silence was broken by the Gwinnett County Police Department. They released the body cam footage. This wasn't a rumor. This was raw, unedited reality. In the footage, we see T.I. arrive at the scene. He isn't the tip we see in music videos. He is a father trying to navigate a nightmare. He asks the officers if his son expressed fear for his safety. It was a tactical question, an attempt to frame the non-compliance as a psychological response rather than a criminal one. The observation of T.I.'s demeanor in that video was a turning point for many viewers. You could see the weight on his shoulders. He was trying to protect a son who, just minutes earlier, had been posting selfies in a Pokémon suit. The contrast was devastating. The industry reaction was one of stunned observation. No one wanted to kick a man while he was down, but the absurdity of the situation made it impossible not to watch. Meanwhile, the media king of the moment, 50 Cent, was operating in a different kind of silence. He didn't need to post a long-form essay. He didn't need to do an interview. He just needed to exist in his own success. While King was being booked, 50 was posting about his sold-out Broadway show, Joe Turner's Come and Gone. The juxtaposition was a masterclass in psychological warfare. 50 Cent was showing the world what winning looked like, while the Harris family was forced to watch the body cam footage of their son's lowest moment. But then something happened no one saw coming. Just as the internet was beginning to move on to the next scandal, a new voice entered the conversation. Or rather, a resurfaced voice. A clip from an old interview with T.I. began to trend, one where he spoke about the difficulties of parenting in the spotlight. In the clip, T.I. looked almost prophetic, as if he knew that one day, his teachings would be tested in the most public way possible. The twist wasn't just the resurfaced video, it was the entry of 50 Cent into the direct narrative. For weeks, 50 had stayed mostly on the sidelines of King's specific provocations, using memes and Pepe the Frog images to deflect. But after the arrest, 50 Cent leaned into the irony. He didn't just mock the arrest, he highlighted the fact that King had been using paperwork and snitching allegations as a weapon, only to be caught in a situation where he had to rely on the very legal system he claimed to despise. The shift was dramatic. The conversation moved from King got arrested to King handed 50 Cent the ultimate victory. A resurfaced clip of King mocking 50 Cent's late mother was played side by side with the footage of King crying in the back of a patrol car. The warrior image King had tried to build was dismantled in 48 hours. A new voice entered the conversation from the legal side, suggesting that the felony possession charge might be harder to beat than the family initially thought. Speculation began to swirl that prosecutors in Gwinnett County were looking to make an example out of the high-profile case. The twist was that King's attempt to be too real for 50 Cent had landed him in a reality that was far too heavy for him to carry. The most dramatic shift occurred when fans began to realize that 50 Cent hadn't even had to respond with a diss track. He had won the feud through the sheer power of observation. He didn't have to call King a clown. King had dressed as a Pokemon. He didn't have to call him reckless. The Cybertruck and the gun did that for him. The twist was that the King of Petty didn't have to be petty at all. He just had to be patient. As the dust settles on the Gwinnett County Jail, the hip-hop world is left with more questions than answers. King Harris is out on bond, but the felony charge still looms like a dark cloud over the Harris legacy. Was this entire saga a series of unfortunate events, or is it a symptom of a much deeper divide within one of music's most famous families? The internet is still divided. Was it all a strategy to gain street credibility that went horribly wrong? Or was it a genuine moment of self-destruction from a young man who felt the pressure of his father's shadow?